Hi, I'm Grady Colleen in the CapeCod.com News Center, and I'm joined today by a special guest who's helping out our K9 friends after they're retired from the police force. Do you mind introducing yourself for our listeners?
My name is Joe Ambrosini from the Cape and Islands Police K9 Relief Fund.
Awesome, and thank you again for having this conversation with us in studio.
Thank you. I appreciate your station bringing me in here and letting me sell my wares. Thank you.
So we have a special event coming up for Saturday. That is September 30th. Kickstands are up at 11. We have a motorcycle fundraiser going on. Can you talk a little bit more about this? Is the 15th iteration, but a little bit more about the annual motorcycle fundraiser, how it started, how the money's utilized.
I tell this story many times, and it's the same story. But about 23 years ago, I was still on the job at the sheriff's department, and the departments, when the dogs retire, the departments don't pay for them anymore. The burden is on the handler, and the dogs retire and they go home and they live another 4 or 5 years. So this organization that I've founded, we are a 501c3, and when the dogs retire and you take them home, you bring them to the vets and we pay the bills. My foundation pays for their medical bills because they can get to be a dog for 4 or 5 years. You know, can jump on the couch and be a dog.
That is nice, especially since some of these animals are put to some pretty serious work for our local police departments. Do you mind talking a little bit more about your experience with K9s in general? Were you yourself a handler, or?
I was a handler for 12 years. I had a Rottweiler, but he wasn't a big monster. He was 89 pounds. His name was Rocco. And he was a utility dog, meaning that he did tracking, lost articles, building searches, apprehend bad guys, find elderly people, find lost children. And yeah, it was very rewarding when you find somebody or you find articles in the woods or you apprehend a bad guy. Very rewarding.
It's very interesting. So as well, just as an example, so Rocco eventually retired and he was in your care for how many years?
Rocco, when he retired, he lived another 4.5, 5 years. But I spoke to an IRS agent, and he helped me put this together, the 501c3. By the time I got it all done and finished, my dog had passed away. So I didn't benefit from it, but I feel it was still a good idea, and I still think it's a good idea because between the dog doesn't get any retirement. He gets to be a dog again, but he should get more. And the handler, it shouldn't be his burden either to pay for his bills. So, and everybody that has an animal and brings them to the vets, you well know that it's not cheap anymore because of the science and everything in the equipment. But needless to say, and these dogs they're athletes. They train hard, they work hard, they sleep hard. Their hours are lousy, just like the officer. So, they deserve something. I feel they deserve something, and I know my dog would die for me if need be, and that's everything. And I spend more time with my dog than I spent with my family. So, and he would die for me. So that's all I can say.
So this has been going on for several years now. Do you mind, not to ambush you with statistics or data questions, but roughly how many dogs have you been helping out since the beginning of this?
Yeah, you're wrangling me a lot. We usually, it's roughly 13 to 14 dogs always, but they rotate in and rotate out. Unfortunately, some pass away, but it's roughly 13 to 14 dogs, and it's not cheap. The way I felt is that if I had to put my dog down because I couldn't afford to pay for his medical bills, that's a shame. And to this day, if somebody needed $20 and that's all we had in the fund, we would give him the $20 to make his dog, help his dog. So.
That is fantastic to hear. I mean, it's unfortunate they do live a long time afterwards. I imagine with, as you mentioned, kind of the medical sciences. Fortunately, our furry friends get to live a little while longer, but it does mean that it's more time that expenses can accrue. And I'm not exactly sure, but are canines known for maybe having a little bit more serious injuries to take care of than others with hips or anything else?
Yeah, they're stressed out all the time. They're always working. Like I said, most of the hours are either 4 to 12 or midnight to 8, which, anybody who works shift work knows that it's not the most comfortable shifts to work, those evening shifts and midnight shifts. So it affects dogs also, not only people, but it affects dogs.
Sure. So as well, talking more about this event specifically, it's an annual motorcycle fundraiser. Was this part and parcel with the nonprofit when you first started it up, or did this come later?
This came later, right? We used to do a fundraiser at the Yarmouth House, which was very successful. And then some of my volunteers said, let's do a motorcycle run. So we started that, and I ride myself, and it's become very successful. And people look forward to doing it. It's a nice ride. We ride from Patriots Square in Dennis on 134 to MacMillan Pier. The Provincetown's been very good to us as far as taking care of us when we get down there. We have a police escort. Once your kickstands up, you don't put your feet down until you get to the pier. We go through the National Seashore, which is very scenic. And then when we get to the pier, everybody can park their bikes, and we Ken Foster from Breakaway has that big oil truck, and he cooks hot dogs, and we have hot dogs, chili, and chowder, and chips, and everything is donated for the most part from great people on the Cape, great merchants, store owners. They've been very good to us, which in turn we get to pass that on to everybody.
Yeah, that is awesome. Does most of the money go straight to this the fund itself?
It all goes to the fund. I have like 13, 14 volunteers. Nobody draws anything. I don't draw anything. Yeah, everything goes to the K9 Relief Fund, which it should.
That is fantastic as well. So the registration's from 9 to 11 a.m. that day, so you can just sign up the day of. You don't have to pre-register? Or?
No, you can come in and sign up as you come in, and then park, and then right around 11 o'clock we'll get going and go down to Provincetown. And hopefully the weather will be great, and it's a good time. Nobody's ever said that it was a lousy ride. It's a good ride. It's an easy ride even for novice riders because there's not a lot of turns, and it's a steady going down the Mid-Cape through all the way down to the National Seashore in Provincetown and then to the pier. So, if you're a new rider, it's a piece of cake. It's a good ride for even a new rider.
Great to know for a lot of people who might be aspiring riders. So in addition, you said you ride yourself. Do you mind
I
talking?
do. I've been riding since I was 15. I did enduros and hill climbs, and transitioned because I'm a little older now to I have a Harley Street Glide Special, which has got a radio, and it's a bagger, ABS brakes, GPS. It's kind of a nice. It's good for an old guy to ride. It's a sport touring bike. That's what they're called. Very nice.
Very interesting. I'm sure it's an opportunity as well for people to share passions, essentially.
Absolutely.
So as well, the event itself, all the money goes to helping out these dogs, and you mentioned that there's already a few in your care already. Are there a few? Are they all local dogs from local police departments, or are you expanded out?
We do Barnstable County and the islands. Any dog, state, local, or federal, that's retired on the Cape, we'll take care of them.
Oh, okay.
And believe it or not, 14 dogs is a lot to take care of. The money's we raise the money and they get it. That's the whole idea of it. And my volunteers, they're the best. I can't say enough about them. They do what they're supposed to do, and they do it promptly, and they do it with. I got compliments last night about two people that did a fundraiser at Bark in the Park in Harwich, and this summer, and they were so enthusiastic, and it showed with the people that went to see him. So it's all good.
It was fantastic. Great to know there's some support. Actually, speaking of the community angle, do you think here on Cape people maybe have more appreciation for their K9 friends, essentially? Especially with, of course, we have Nero's Law that has now been moving forward with Stephen Exaros, State Representative Stephen Exaros pushing for. Do you think that stuff like that is kind of a testament to the community when it comes to K9s?
Absolutely. And unfortunately for some people, they don't appreciate the dog until they find their grandmother or their child or save them from a bad guy. But they do things that, I wouldn't say this at a union meeting when I was working, but one K9's worth 10 guys. Because nobody's, I have a heart. If I've got somebody, I'm holding somebody and they're crying that they, if the dog's got a hold of him, he's not, if the guy cries, he's not going to let up on him until he's told to, let me see your hands or anything like that. So they'll go places that no other officer would go. And, they're worth their weight in gold. The scent work is unbelievable. Building searches, drug work. You can train a dog to find guns. If it has a scent, you can train the dog to find it.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to get out the crystal ball for a little bit, if you don't mind, but we've been hearing a lot about upcoming robotics, AI, stuff like that, talking about Boston Dynamics dogs.
Unbelievable.
They're fascinating. But
Yeah.
do you think that they're going to be able to replace the role of a canine?
No, not as far as scent work, but, infrared. Most departments have drones that have infrared, and the state police helicopters, it's called FLIR. If somebody's lost in the woods and you get up there, especially at night, you glow like a glow stick. But in that respect, yes, and also in respect to, going after somebody with a weapon. But Vesta Dog program, all the guys on the Cape, and most police officers have bullet and stab-proof vests. And the guys everywhere, even the Cape, if they get in a situation, they put the vest on the dog like he's doing a building search, and the possibility of someone in that building with a knife or a gun. So,
Taking care of the dogs well.
yeah, I don't think it'll happen yet, because with a canine, the only thing that's odd for that dog is obedience. Everything else we just channel, their prey drive and their scent. We channel that for our specific needs. The dog, they live by scent, and they live by prey drive. So those are channeled into, apprehending people and finding people with scent, which everybody has.
Mm-hmm.
So
A very natural way of taking advantage of what's already instinct.
absolutely, and they're amazing. They not only as far as tracking and finding obstacles and objects. They do cancer. Beagles do termites. They use dogs at the airport for food. If it has a scent, they can find it.
Mm-hmm.
You can train them to find it.
Sure.
It's remarkable. We haven't even touched on it. As far as their senses, how strong they are. So.
Now, that is very interesting. I guess if you had infinite money and infinite time, would you like to be able to see these programs like your nonprofit be able to help take care of dogs in those other fields that are also retiring?
Oh, absolutely. But, that's a full-time job. I even thought, because when I was on the job, United States Police K9, there's a lot of associations out there, and they have access to every K9 working in the United States. And that would be a big job. That would be to go around. I know the people to talk to, because they have all the information of every department in their county or state who's got a working dog. But it's a big onslaught. It's a lot of work, and Barnstable County's big enough for me.
Well, thank you very much for joining us for this conversation. It's about all the time that we have, but is there anything else you wanted to highlight about the nonprofit or the motorcycle ride upcoming?
Well, I'd like to say thank you to you guys, and thanks for the people on the Cape, and we have sponsorships that we have that from national companies, but the Cape has been unbelievable, awesome, helping my foundation, and all I can say is I appreciate everybody that's done that and doing it for us. That's all I can say. So.
Awesome. As well, besides just the event itself, can people volunteer or donate any time of year?
Sure, they can reach out to me if they want to come to the motorcycle run and find me, or you can go on CapeCodPoliceK9.org, and my information is there. They can get a hold of me. And volunteer. Always looking for volunteers. We utilize what their specialties are, sometimes, and if we get too much of that, we don't make them do heavy lifting or anything. It's all and I tell all my volunteers, if it's not fun, we're not going to do it, and that's our motto. And we have fun, and we get the job done.
Mm-hmm. All right, awesome. One final question before we go. It is a motorcycle ride. Have you considered or have done in the past putting a retired K9 in a sidecar on one of the motorcycles?
No, because
would that be too dangerous?
Yeah,
or?
that number one, and number two, and I always say this, and I always say it to the guys that worked for me when I was on the job, and it was told to me, never set your dog up for failure. Never set your dog up for failure. Don't put him in a situation that that you don't have control over.
Mm-hmm.
So the question to that is no.
Responsible and sounds good. It speaks to the care that you have for the K9s in the program. Well, thank you so much. It's been a great conversation, and hopefully we'll have you back in sometime soon.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm Gritty Collane, and this has been Sunday Journal.